This video is going to be looking at diagnosing cellular connection issues. So the assumption here is that you do not have connectivity to the site for remote communications. So I'm going to be showing you the diagnostic tools that you can use through direct connection with the USB cable that we showed earlier using DevConfig. So this assumes you know how to connect to the station using DevConfig. We're using the direct connection using the right communication port that shows you your CR300. And we are using direct connection, so we don't need to specify the pack bus address, just hit the connect button. So this will find the device and load the information from the device. We will be using the cellular tab that is under the deployment tab. So switch to the cellular tab, and this gives you all the status information of the cellular modem. Now, when you first access this tab, these settings will be loaded automatically, but the status information may take 10 to 20 to 30 seconds to load from the logger, depending on how quick the logger is, what else it's doing and what other tasks it's running. So just try and give it some time to make sure that whatever you're reading is the information read from the modem itself. So we are looking at diagnosing potential sources of error. So we'll look at some of the messages here, and we'll look at what they may mean and how you may diagnose and fix them. So straight away, we can see that on this station, the status is that the state is power off on a power schedule off. So there's many reasons why the power to the modem may be off. This one is telling us that it is the power schedule that it's off. So when that happens, let's look over here at the automated power schedule, and we can see that the modem is configured to power up or start at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it will be on for a duration of 10 minutes, and it will repeat that 10-minute cycle every hour. So this is what we call controlling the power to the modem using a window. So the window is only open for 10 minutes every hour. So on the hour, the window will open, it will run for 10 minutes, then it will close, and then the modem will enter a power off state, and we use that to control the modem power consumption so it's minimized, that effectively it reduces the power consumption of the modem from 100% operation to 1/6 operation. So it is possible that your AO1 has been supplied with a schedule to minimize power because you're using it in a site that may not have optimum power conditions, or you're using more sensors. So this is controlled by the program. If you want to change these settings, you actually need to change them in the program. And it's probably best that you talk to your support person to get those settings changed, unless you're familiar editing your CR basic code. Okay. Now, the other way that the power may be controlled is the modem or the logger has set points where if the battery voltage becomes too low, it will start to reduce the operation of the modem to conserve the built-in battery power. So that is where it may say power off under program control, and in which case that generally happens around 12.8 volts. So you can switch to the data monitor tab, look at the public table, find the battery voltage, and in this case the battery voltage is 13.16, so that's excellent battery voltage. So the logger is not controlling the modem functionality based on battery power. But if this says power off under program control, then that's the likely source. So if that's the case, you will need to charge your AR1 either through the solar system or the AC plug pack to get the power back up to allow the modem to be on all the time. Now, the third power off condition that may sometimes occur is if the internal switch to the AI1 is off, but you've plugged it into USB power, it will also say there's not a 12-volt source. So in that case, you actually need to turn the switch on, and then have a look at the message. And after about 20 seconds or 30 seconds, the logger will detect it now has 12-volt power. And if it's not being controlled through the automated power schedule or through program control, it will turn the modem on. So it's very common through different scenarios that the power to the modem may be intentionally turned off. So the first state is to look at this state message and see what the status of the power is. Now, the second message is that it may give you a state message saying something along the lines of SIM not read or SIM not active. Now, that's a common, probably after power, that's the next most common cause of communications issues, are SIM-related issues. Now, the diagnosis depends on whether it's your SIM or a SIM that Xylem have supplied. So if it's your SIM, you need to consider whether you've got a postpaid SIM or a prepaid SIM. So a prepaid SIM is where you load credit onto the SIM card first, and then you use that data until the credit is all consumed. And then you'll need to top up your SIM card. Now, if someone's supplying their own SIM and it's a prepaid SIM, almost always you may think that you have credit on your SIM card, but almost always if there's communications issues, it's because credit has expired or credit has run out and you need to top up your SIM card. Now, as someone who performs a lot of support calls, as soon as I hear someone's using a prepaid SIM card, it is almost always credit related. So please look into that thoroughly, even if you think you have credit. Now, if it's a SIM card that we've supplied, if this is the first time you're using the station, it may be that the settings to enable the SIM card have not gone through as expected, and the SIM may not be activated already. So if that's the case, you will need to contact your support staff and get them to confirm that the SIM actually has been activated. So all you need to do is look at the serial number of your AO1 and just tell support that it's a SIM card that we've supplied. You don't have connectivity yet, and just to confirm that the SIM has actually been activated, and we'll look up that serial number and confirm the SIM details and be able to tell you if it's activated or not. So it is possible when you first receive an AO1 that the SIM may not have been activated correctly. So please contact your sales staff or support and we'll check that for you. One of the other common causes is with SIM cards, especially if it's a SIM card that you've supplied, or if the SIM card has been changed, that the APN may be set incorrectly. So the APN is the access point of how you get connection to the network, how you get a data connection to the network. That must be set specifically for the SIM provider. So it is possible, especially if you supplied your own SIM, that the APN is still the default value, which may not suit the SIM that you've used. Again, that is set in program control. So if the APN is wrong, you can't just change it here and apply it, because next time your program starts, the program will overwrite that value. So make sure that either you do it in program yourself if you know CR Basic, or you contact your support staff to get the APN in the program updated, and we'll send you a new file. And then finally, so if we've got power, if our SIM's activated, what else could it be? It generally comes down to signal strength. So that is where you would look at your signal quality field generally. Now, the cellular signal quality is what we're looking for. We're looking at an RSRQ because we're using, in general, a 4G system. So yeah, you're looking there for a value that's better than -1 if it's excellent, in between -1 and -12 for good, or anything less than -13 is fair to poor. The other field, depending if you want to look at DPM, is signal strength. You can look at these values here, and again, anything better than -90 is excellent. Good is in the range of -90 to -105. Fair is in -106 to -115, and in general, you'll still get data connections in that range. They will just be irregular. But the advantage of the AR1 is that all data is stored in a buffer online on the AR1. So when you lose communications, once those communications are restored, all that historical data will then be transferred with the timestamp of the measurement made in the field. So if you do lose communications, it's not the end of the world. All the data will come through and all the data will be restored to the times that it was measured without you needing to do anything. So it's quite a powerful historian on board the data logger. You may get comms through if it's better, if it's worse than -115, but it will be very irregular. So in general, if you're in this poor range, even if you're in this fair range, if you can't get a reliable cellular network status, you may need to choose a better location. Sometimes moving small distances makes a big impact. Alternatively, you may want to use the Iridium short burst data communication add-on that we have that will give you connection wherever you want globally. So that can be added to any model of AR1. Contact your sales support staff for that. So the only other thing we sometimes look at is diagnosing the connection through the low-level commands in the terminal mode. Now, we haven't shown you terminal mode in one of these videos before, so this is the first time we're looking at terminal mode. Terminal mode is quite a powerful system. It does allow you to talk directly to the data logger, and you can use commands such as help that show you the list of possible things. You can show almost any type of information about the data logger, and one of the best ones we can use is set comms watch. So you can either type in set comms watch, enter, or you can actually just type in W to watch, and that brings up the same menu. So once you've brought up the watch menu, we are looking at the cell modem, so that is option 12, and just enter a sufficient timeout, such as maybe 999 seconds. So that will sit and watch the communications on the cellular modem for 999 seconds to see if any traffic is occurring on that modem. Okay, so I don't expect you to know what the data coming up through the comms watch is, but if you do want to get us to diagnose your communications issues, all you have to do is start the export, then save it to a particular file. So let's just call comms watch. Now, when the modem powers up and when the data logger is talking to the modem to configure it for a connection, it will be scrolling up a whole bunch of text that you will want to capture. In general, I'd advise that you let it run for around 10 to 15 minutes, capture all the traffic you want, and then you can end the export and then send that to us for remote diagnosis. Now, in the example I'm showing you here, we're not getting any traffic because this is a modem that is off due to power control. But if you're watching a modem that was on, had a SIM card, the data logger would be talking to the modem, giving a whole set of instructions to configure it, to check whether it's got signal strength, to check whether it has a data connection and instructing it to go online, and then it will switch to an encoded message structure. So we are looking for the commands that are the text-based commands that we can then diagnose to see what the logger is telling the modem and what response the modem is giving the logger. Okay, so really, in summary, the main tab of interest is the deployment cellular tab. You're looking through the fields here to make sure it's enabled, make sure the APN is correct, make sure that the schedule makes sense to you. You may not know that it was operating on a schedule. So if it's showing you that it's always on, then that means there is no schedule. And the on duration and repeat cycle do not apply. And then you're really looking at the status over here. You're looking to see whether it's a power state issue. You're looking to see whether it's a SIM card issue. And then if you've passed both of those, then look at these boxes here, and it's probably telling you it is a signal strength issue. So The last field we didn't look at is the cellular network status. Now, this is showing this that it does not have an IP address. So if you were dealing with a good connection, that will show you an IP address, and it would also show you that the cell network state is registered. So if you have an IP address and if your cell network state is registered, then you are actually online, and there's some other reason stopping you connecting to the station. So that's a good setup, is that the IP address is filled out with something other than 0, and cell network state has the message registered included in it. All right. With that, I think you've got a bit of some skills to look into communications issues. Thank you.